Hey, so Final Fantasy VII Part 4. Let's dive right in. So we left off in Junon. We're at a part where Cloud is flying solo for a little bit. He has to kind of infiltrate Rufus's company welcome parade, and does that by disguising himself as an Imperial soldier, which may or may not be a bit of foreshadowing, actually. I didn't say any more about that for anyone watching who may not have actually played the game before. But anyway, that's basically where we are, so we just have to exit this door, and then we go to a slightly annoying parade sequence. As much as I love Uematsu, I do also have to say the parade march music here is, I think, one of the more annoying tracks that he's produced for the Final Fantasy series. Not one of my favorites. And of course, this is actually the cameo track in Final Fantasy IX. This piece of music actually makes a kind of guest appearance in that game's soundtrack as well. So, yeah, a little Easter egg. Which there are a few of in Final Fantasy IX. My favorite, actually, is that I forget what the name of the volcano dungeon in 9 is offhand, but the music for that is actually kind of a modernized for what was Final Fantasy IX 2000, I guess. But yeah, modernized for 2000 kind of remix of the Gurgu volcano music from Final Fantasy 1. So that's a nice little touch there. Yeah, overall great soundtrack on this game, as really all of the Final Fantasy games are. And, I mean, this piece of music does what it's supposed to do. It's a parade march. So it is personally, I think, one of the more annoying tracks in the game. But I guess that's just my taste. Again, it does do what it's supposed to do. Anyway. So here you have to try to get in step with this next regiment as it walks past, and then shoulder your weapon, which they actually, I don't think, tell you to do, but you are supposed to actually shoulder your weapon in unison with the other soldiers as well. Yeah, we'll wait for this next group to pass and try to sneak in from behind. Controller just go out? Oh, you have to wait for him to actually say charge. That explains it. So yeah, you have to push circle to shoulder your weapon when when the other soldiers do, and they don't tell you that. So I've never actually done that well on this parade part, because again, I didn't know that until very recently. But I got 6 ethers. I think the top prize for that is just like 5,000 gil, so it's not too bad. You got the part where you have to do like a gun drill, like basically what they're doing here. They make you do for Rufus, and if you get that's more like a rhythm game, and I usually do well on that. Of course, I haven't in a number of years, so we'll see this time. But I believe the top prize for that is actually the Force Stealer Sword, which is the next weapon for Cloud, basically. And it may be the only place you can get that one, too. I'm not sure of that. So if we don't get it, we may still be using the Hard Edge from the Shinra Tower for a while. Which, incidentally, the Hard Edge Sword is actually for sale in the shops in this town, so we're actually up to the point where that's the current weapon. So stealing it in the Shinra building does get you a lot of use out of it. You kind of skip over the Mithril Sword or Mithril Saber, whatever it's called, in Calm Town. So you actually, I think, get a little break between the parade and the kind of like send-off gun posing thing. So I think we actually do get to walk around in town a little bit. They might make you practice the drill first, but then you get a little time to go to the shops and things like that. So yeah, first you go back to the locker room here. Keep drilling me till it's time. I've already been to the group room. Isn't that enough? Not that there's anything wrong with that. So, yeah, this is not interactive yet. They're just showing you what to do. But this is basically a rhythm game. And typically I'm not, I wouldn't say great, but I'm decent at rhythm games. Like even like the dancing mini games in GTA San Andreas, or they actually did it again in the clubs in the third DLC for GTA 4, Ballad of Gay Tony. They had like a dancing mini game there, which was like a rhythm game also. I actually did Britney's dance beat on this very show. Yeah, that's pretty impressive there, Cloud. Alright, so, yeah, again, we actually are eventually going to the dock, but and I'll actually drop a save here. I should be alternating save files in case anything goes wrong with recording, but I should have enough room on this memory card. I think there's, besides this, I think there's only 2 or 3 other save files for other games already on it. So, anyway, we'll do that. Actually, before I go this way, you do see Rude walking into a certain bar. I think that just goes to the other side of town. Yeah, you see Rude walking to a bar here the first time you come out, but we'll find him anyway. This is actually a screen where pushing select to see the exits can be kind of helpful. Because it's kind of hard to tell, again. Like, it looks like you should be able to go down this alley, but you can't, but the next alley you can. But if you push select, you get the little arrows to show where all the exits on each screen are, so we'll leave that on while we're in town here. Alright, so that's the materia shop. He has revive. But I also have very little kill, don't I? I did get those ethers from the parade. I don't want to sell too many of them, but we can get rid of those for now. We don't need the greens in the immediate future. We probably won't need those mithril armlets, so let's see what that did for our gil. Can we afford it? We can. So yeah, I'll go ahead and buy that revive. Seal, that can wait a little while, I think. I believe Seal has like the break spell, the stone spell on it. I didn't mean to go back into the shop. So yeah, we can wait on buying that one. That's not as vital. Yeah, this is kind of cool. There's the laser beam, and when you walk past, when you walk through it, it gives you the bell for the shop. So here's the weapon shop, and we should actually have some of these already. Actually, most of them we already have. Well, not most, I guess, but the hard edge, the atomic scissors, and the striking staff we got through. We want to sell those. We got those through stealing earlier in the game. Yeah, again, I don't want to sell too many of those, but we'll get Tifa's and Red's weapon, and not quite enough to get Yuffie's. Probably sell something else here. Let's do that. Alright. So downstairs there's like a speakeasy that the Turks are hanging out at. And it gives you a break from the parade music. Fortunately, you don't have to fight them here. Actually, I guess it's just rude, not the Turks in total. Unless somebody comes in when you try to leave. Maybe not. Alright, so let's see what this is. Probably the item shop. Yeah. Yeah, should be pretty decently set for the moment. Yeah, come on. Hung up on the scenery. Let me just check, since I'm playing this on PS2, yeah, you get this... I think there are a few PS1 games that on PS2 you actually can use the analog stick with on the controller, but not this one. So yeah, that is one mark against the original version of this, I guess, that you are stuck with the D-pad, which, you know, for old school games, you know, NES, Super Nintendo, whatever, I prefer D-pad, but it doesn't quite work as well for this, since it's sort of pseudo. It's not really 3D movement, but it kind of gives you an impression of it on these pre-rendered backgrounds. I actually forget what the 135th soldiers do, but there is a room full of cats, so that's cool. Where mine went? Adrian was here. So yeah, it's just a few things to pick up. The power source, I might have mentioned this in a previous part, I think I have a guard source in my inventory as well. There's a guard source as well. But they're kind of like not even kind of, they basically are the tabs from Chrono Trigger. I actually have a luck source and a couple of mine sources already too. But they permanently increase stats on one of your characters. And pro tip, don't use any of them on Aerith. As tempting as it might be with the mine sources especially. I won't spoil why. You probably already know, but if you don't, I won't spoil it here. But, yeah, don't use them on Aerith, use them on other characters. I did forget to go into wherever this guy wants to take me. Oh, I think this is just another training room. But there is a materia here. It might actually be a second enemy skill. Yeah. I honestly only really ever use one, because there is one quirk with the enemy skills, and that's that each one is fully independent, so the new enemy skill will not have the spells we've already learned on this one. It starts empty, so unfortunately it's... I don't really ever find a need to have more than those two either. But, you know, if you do want to have multiple characters with enemy skill, I usually just keep it on Cloud because he's almost always in the party, but if you do want to put it on somebody else, the option's there. So there is actually a whole other side of town that you can go to before starting the next thing. It's kind of a confusing layout just because of the perspectives of these backgrounds. But there are a few more shops. I think there's like a second weapon shop that might have like the Calm Town items. Oh, here's the other Turks. I thought you saw the whole group. I guess they're all just not in that speakeasy with Rude. Actually talk to Sang there? Yeah, there you go. No, was enlightening. So is this just a regular inn? Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. But are there any items? Not here. Girls make more than you. Doing what? Actually, don't answer that. This is a family show. See, I think the shops on this side of town are just like the previous towns, like they're the calm town items and stuff. Actually, I take that back. We haven't seen these yet, but I don't have the cash for them, so. And there's actually a third floor, which is actually what we just came from. Never mind. No loafing. Hmm? Yeah, that's corporate for you. Weird shop layout here. I guess the idea is that these are like industrial spaces that are repurposed for being these shops. So yeah, these are the calm shop items. I don't know why they put the second ones there, other than I guess one reason might be that you can potentially get Yuffie at this point, who comes with the throw materia, so you could buy those weaker items, those weaker, like, calm town weapons for her to throw. But again, throw isn't really that useful in this game. I mentioned that in the last part. Compared to how it was a well worthwhile skill to use in... oh, this is actually the destination. Yeah, throw is well worth using in, like, Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, but... for whatever reason, it doesn't work that well. Like, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and there are no dedicated, like, shurikens or bombs or, like, dedicated throwing items like there are in the previous games. So the only things you can throw are just weapons from the weapon shop. So I actually didn't even realize we were going here. Why is the mood gauge not going up? Alright, so yeah, I kind of screwed up the beginning there, I guess, but I think we might have still gotten enough by the end to get the Force Stealer. We'll see. Yep, there we go. Nice. May have noticed Red 13 hanging out, hiding in the background there. Alright, so for us, we're actually going to go onto the boat here. But we'll equip our new Force Stealer. And the Force Stealer, it's actually not a huge jump from the hard edge. And it has one less materia slot, but it has double materia growth. So it's good to have. And because it has that growth aspect, well, for starters, we'll want to swap the... Actually, I guess we don't even need... Because it doesn't have link slots, we don't really need to use the Poison Elemental. We can't use the Poison Elemental thing on it. So I'm actually going to bump the enemy skill down to Cloud's armor, because that doesn't get any benefit from the double growth. And actually, I think I'm actually going to put that Revive Materia on Cloud. I'm not going to be using him as a healer, but it will get some extra experience because we did just buy that. Incidentally, there is one thing that we didn't forget, but there's an enemy outside Fort Condor on the continent we're leaving here, which has the White Wind enemy skill, which is, I would say, like one of the crucial enemy skills to get. It's one of the most useful in the game. The catch is that enemy doesn't actually just use it on its own in battle. You have to manipulate it to get it to use it. And we don't have Manipulate yet, so we can't actually get that now. But when we do have access to... You get a car, eventually, a little buggy. And you can take that to Costa del Sol and actually go back to Junon and disembark on the previous continent with it. And we can use that to get that enemy skill once we have the car. So we just have to remember that. Once we have the Manipulate Materia, which comes with Catchy, we can come back and use that then. So there are a few things to pick up on the boat here, and also your other party members are actually disguised and hiding here, which is kind of fun. Especially when you see Red 13's disguise. So that's Yuffie dressed as a sailor, and I will give her a tranquilizer, because I have one. But she is still standing in front of that materia, so we'll have to grab that later. So there's Eris. Oh, I'll take you someday, baby. That's another response that can earn her favor for the date sequence. And giving Yuffie the tranquilizer is actually one also, I believe. Because if you fail both Eris and Tifa, you actually can get the date sequence with Yuffie. And if you fail her as well, you can actually get it with Barrett, of all people. So I think this is Tifa on the little platform here, if I remember right. your seamen to have I'm sorry. So actually this guy, I think, heals you and has like a mini shop thing. 250 gil, no way. I think I'm actually at full health anyway. So, this guy probably just potions the Phoenix Downs, that's... So which sailor here, or which soldier do you think is Red 13? Would it be the one with the tail sticking out at the back that can barely walk on two legs? At least the uniforms do have masks, so it's not like the Ninja Turtles, how they would, you know, they just put on a trench coat and a hat and nobody could tell they were turtles. It's a little less inconspicuous, although his tail, which is on fire, by the way, his tail is perpetually on fire, sticking out, might be a bit of a giveaway. Yeah, nobody will guess that he's a red lion with a tail that's on fire. What do we do now? Like, I know where Barrett is, but that other guy was in the way to, kind of forget how to get him out of the way. There's also a boss fight on this ship, so we'll need to prepare ourselves for that at some point soon. I think it might be just as simple as talking to one of our other party members again. But I don't know which one offhand. Tifa just says the same thing. Eris, maybe? Yeah. So she asks where Barrett is. So I think that gets that other soldier out of the way. Because Barrett's on the front of the boat. Oh yeah, there we go. And there he is, in a sailor suit. I mean, frankly, that would probably save us a lot of trouble here. Yeah, again, Barrett, I don't know how inconspicuous his outfit is either, especially considering that I assume everybody can still see that one of his hands is a gun. You'd think whoever was taking roll would notice the guy with the gun for a hand that wasn't on the roster. And I don't know how well Tifa's uniform top is going to fit either, just saying. So I'm actually going to go ahead and drop a save here as well. Because again, there is actually a boss fight, basically momentarily. So we'll save it in that second slot again. So, we actually haven't used Yuffie yet, but she is still like a level ahead of all of the other supporting characters. She's still at the same level as Cloud. And we used Tifa and Barrett for the last, or actually we used Tifa and Red for the last boss fight in Junon, the town. So we'll tag Eris and Barrett in for this one. Alright, so we'll get their materia set up. Again, neither of these two have new weapons. So let's actually do this mode, because I don't remember who has what. We can try out the Shiva summon on the boss that's upcoming, and actually I'll go ahead and I think I'll put that, even though it would benefit from the extra material, the extra growth, I'll stick that on Eris also. Restore all, and heal, oh shoot. So she has heal, revive, and cure, and fire and ice. Who else do we tag in? Barrett, right? Again, we don't want to put too much materia on him anyway. Might as well give him the sense, and we'll put a restore on him also. Restore all, just in case he needs it. And does Cloud already have a fire? He doesn't, so I'll put Red's fire on Cloud. And Barrett has 2 slots open. I'll go ahead and put the long range on him. And that's probably sufficient. Yeah, might as well go with it. And yeah, since Barrett is still using the atomic scissors, we want to have the long range on him for the moment anyway. Alright, so this guy will heal us again. I should have just waited to draw the save until we've gotten our party, and I will actually buy that just to fix the little bit of HP loss from equipping materia. Alright, let's do it. Now we can get the materia that Yuffie was standing in front of, too. I actually forgot there's random enemies down here. Marines, I don't think those have any critical items. I left my the guide in the other room. Oh great, they have the sleep spell. That's fantastic. Why did I have Eris attack? I should have used one of the summons. Oh, Fat Chocobo, we haven't seen that yet. I wonder if the Fat Chocobo still has, like, all the items I left in it. In Final Fantasy IV, like, all of Cecil's Dark Knight equipment are in his stomach, and, like, yeah, some of Yang's claws and stuff like that. Like, items that I didn't really need to keep but didn't want to get rid of. Oh, it's an extra all. I don't think we need it at the moment, but that will be useful to have. Alright, so does it let us get that treasure chest yet? I don't remember. So the damage from Matra Magic does eventually kind of fall off, but it's a very, very useful spell, especially in like the first, basically disc 1 of the game. It's well worth getting as like your first enemy skill. So I highly recommend fighting the custom sweepers outside Midgar for that. Actually, for 2 reasons, because you can steal the atomic scissors for Barret from them, which we're still using. That's still, even this much further into the game, still a useful weapon for him. Still his best weapon up to this point. And B, because you can learn Matra Magic from them. Oh, that's for... Oh, and that probably means we wasted money on the Junon weapon for Yuffie, because that Wind Slash is probably better. So I'm gonna have Cloud hang on to his limit break for the boss. We'll, like, have him use his opening turn for that. And I'll actually hang on to Eris's limit break until we need it, also. Ooh, that hurt. Need to give Eris a high potion before we carry on. Should gain a level though, that's nice. She could use an ether, too, just to top her off, since, again, we have a boss fight momentarily here. Is he alive? I mean, he did just kind of materialize through the floor. Seems like something a ghost might do, just saying. And this is actually the first Genova fight, so we get the Genova boss music for this. There's several variations of this boss that we fight. Really? That's annoying. But she can get Shivad. Shiva's one of the classic Final Fantasy summon spells, and one of the originals. She's one of the 8 that debuted in Final Fantasy III, which was the first game that had summoners, and had Ifrit, Shiva, Ramu, Chocobo, Leviathan, how many am I up to? Ifrit, Shiva, Chocobo, Ramu, Leviathan, Bahamut, of course, the other 2. Anyway, like the classic 8. Titan was one. What was the other one? I don't think Golem was in 2 yet. Or in 3 yet, rather. Kind of waiting for the stop spell to wear off of Cloud so we can get the Braver off. I see him moving, so I think he's good to go, and that set off Barret's limit break. So with the limit breaks, there's actually a little bit of strategy with those, because you don't always necessarily want to use them right away when they go off. Sometimes you do want to save them for a boss fight, or at least until you need them, especially something like Healing Wind here. I will go ahead and have Eris use that now, because both Cloud and Barret have gotten to more or less halfway down their health bars. this poison? I guess not. Or possibly Barrett might have a, I don't remember if he might have a star pendant. Not sure if I equipped that on him or not. Oh, that's even more annoying than doing it to Cloud. I do have a cure on Cloud, though, so. Yeah, let's try Flamethrower again. Nice. So that went pretty well. Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. I think, isn't John Cena's final match this coming week, I think? It's not today. Or tomorrow, rather. Yeah, I think they're doing a Saturday night's main event next week, next Saturday. That's, supposedly Cena's last match. I don't know why they didn't do it on a pay-per-view. They just had Survivor Series, and it was not a very good show. I actually did that, actually Cena's match on that with Dominic Mysterio. That was really the one match I actually liked on that show. Like, it did get kind of screwy with the interference at the end, but, it really did, a good job. It put Dom over as, the cheating heel, although he's actually getting over with it, kind of, his poppy, Eddie Guerrero. But yeah, Cena even took, the finishing moves from, Roxana Perez and, Raquel Gonzalez, so, put them over. Huge, too. See, I actually liked that match. I didn't really like it. I mean, especially coming off of the Blood and Guts from AEW, which is, a better take on War Games than what WWE calls War Games, just on concept. Because they actually have the submission-only rule and the roof on the cage, like the real War Games match from WCW, the original. But yeah, I've never liked WWE's take on it, because they do pins, and they have the roof off the cage, they don't have the roof on the cage, so somebody's jumping off of it, and Io Sky does that same trash can spot that I think she's done, at least 4 times now. The same spot every time. She might jump a little different, but... But yeah, even MLW does War Games, so that they call it War Chamber, but, even MLW's is more reminiscent of War Games than WWE's War Games, let alone AEW's Blood and Guts. Which, incidentally, the Blood and Guts show AEW did, that was actually what kind of pushed me firmly into doing this as my next game, because that was when Harley Cameron came out dressed as Tifa for the women's Blood and Guts match. I've been considering playing this at some point soon for the show anyway, but yeah, when she came out in that outfit, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. So, yeah, that's why I started this. more red. Might have behooved him to keep their uniform on for a while, though. It's, you know, the Native American red lion with a tail that's on fire is, you know, not really gonna blend in all that well here in Fantasy Del Boca Vista, or whatever this town's called, Costa del Sol, right? So this part should take us at least through the Gold Saucer, incidentally, which is not too terribly far from here. We do have to go through, like, Mount Corel first, and Corel Town. So there's a few places to go, characters to see here. So you actually can buy this house. It's 300,000 gil, so not till much later in the game will you be able to afford it. But you legitimately can buy it. And I kind of forget what all you get. Like, there are... You can use it as a free in, for one thing. I kind of forget what else you get, because the treasures down here you can get right away. Power source... actually, I guess we didn't need to buy the new weapon for Tifa either. Oh well. Yeah, I think that's better than the one we bought in June on the Grand Glove, so we didn't need to buy that to begin with. See what she says with the oh yeah, unloaded, baby. Check out the bar. That's right, it's Mookie, who you may remember from the group room. He actually appears in the other room if you take that and the honeybee in, so you meet Mookie either way. Hey Mookie, do you want these bikini briefs back? Because, otherwise I'm going to be carrying these around the rest of the game. I don't think I really need them in my inventory anymore, so, if you want them, throw in the blonde wig for you. No? Okay. Platinum bangle is actually better than the carbon bangle we have on most of our characters. The Molotov is just like a slightly better grenade, basically. Of course, we can't actually afford the too many. We can only get one platinum bangle, or we could get 2, 3. We could get 3 out of 4 characters set up with carbon bangles. I will actually go ahead and sell. I guess I could sell the hard edge. I don't think we'll need it again. And the boomerang. Again, we got the wind slash. Might as well sell the Grand Glove too, because again the motor drive is actually better. So I could get 2 platinum bangles, or I could get I guess the platinum bangle is... Huh. That's strange. So why is the platinum bangle more expensive if the carbon bangle's better? Oh, the platinum bangle has double materia growth, even though it only has 2 slots. Okay. I guess that's still a big price difference, considering the actual defense rating is worse on the platinum bangle. Strange. We'll get 4 carbons for now. Equip those on Barret. We'll actually keep Eris with the 4 slots. I actually probably didn't need... I probably only needed 3 carbon bangles. I could use it in. There was an interview, and I actually forget who it was with, if it was Tetsuya Nomura or one of the other developers. Sorry, buddy. But they actually did confirm that Red is actually a feline, not a canine. Oh, it's Johnny. Everybody from the Wall District is here. I think that, yeah, that's the end. Don't call her a cutie, she's 16. I believe that's Yuffie's canonical age. Of course, the ages never really make a whole lot of sense in these games. Like, I never bought that Celeste was a former general at 18 in 6. I don't know if we actually need it. Well, we don't have a... And we can't afford it at the moment anyway. I was gonna say we don't have a seal yet, but, yeah, in my headcanon, like, Celeste is way older than the age they get to. And of course, in this game, I think, like, the 2 characters that they kind of play up as, like, the old guys, Barret, and we haven't met him yet, but Sid. I think Sid is, like, 32, Barret's 35, and they're, like, the old men on the team. So go figure. Yeah, I think Cloud is supposed to be 21. I think Eris is actually canonical age is actually older. I think Eris is 25, according to the manual. But yeah, like the canonical stats they give these characters in these games is always like way, like especially the height and weight ratios. Like they'll have characters that are like, you know, warriors that are like 6'3", and then they're like 120 pounds according to the canonical info. So I don't know how much I buy those. Like Locke and Celeste, and a lot of the characters in 6 should be older than they are. Well, I guess you didn't steal much, because it's still the same stock. So we may have actually missed Eris and Tifa on the beach here. Don't get too excited, they were just in their regular outfits. Which, in Tifa's case, isn't that far off from a swimsuit anyway. Yeah, I forgot staying at the inn takes the other characters. I think they go back to the dock when you stay at the inn. So, yeah. And actually, I guess we missed Hojo here, too. Because Hojo's on the beach. Huh. Oh well. There's not a whole lot of exposition with Hojo, anyway. Alright, let's go back to the docks. Are they at the docks, or do you just leave town? I'm kind of forgetting now. Yeah, I guess you just leave town. Alright, so I'm actually going to hold here for a moment. Through the magic of television, you won't even notice I'm gone. And I'm back. Again, I probably could have gotten away with not even mentioning that I paused recording for a couple of minutes. I didn't even say anything, but I did. But we're back, picking up where I left off, fixing my camera here. Yeah, let's swap characters since we have some new weapons and stuff. So Yuffie's actually... Barrett caught up to Yuffie, actually. But all of these characters have equipment that need to be put on them. So let's do that real quick before deciding who to actually use here. She already has a carbon bangle. And go ahead and put that on Red. Oh, actually, Red has a new weapon also. And then we'll swap Yuffie in. Let's actually use Yuffie for a bit, since the weapons are pretty well evened out at this point. But I don't think I want to, I think I'll use her as the mage for this lineup, so... who should we put in? Let's throw... I might as well keep Eris for a little bit, and maybe swap her with Red or Tifa sometime soon, but they're all even. And this is less that we have to reset at this point. So we'll put the new summon that we got on her. Put these spells on Yuffie. Tifa, we'll put Barrett's Restore. Barrett still has the Chocobo lure. Actually, might as well put Steel on Yuffie also. So how many slots does she have left? Just the one. Okay, so we'll use that for Steel. So let's actually compare Yuffie and Tifa's dexterity rating. Oh yeah, Yuffie's actually... Well, I wouldn't say substantially higher, but she's definitely higher than Tifa, 27, 23, so she'll be good for that for now. Actually, I think I'm gonna swap that summon spell with something else Eris is holding. Just so I have all the currently active summons on the same person. Just to make it easy. So, we'll swap Ifrit onto... Does Yuffie already have a fire? No, she doesn't. We'll give her fire. Okay. Should be good for a bit. The other nice thing, we'll put Yuffie in the back row, the other nice thing with Yuffie is every single weapon she has is long range. She doesn't have any short range weapons, so you can always have her in the back row no matter how you're using her. So let's just go ahead and drop a save here. Alright, so I'll swap to this view to see where we're going. Ooh, can I get big guard at this point? Let's see, the enemy that uses that shows up on beaches, so let's see what happens here. Although that may be another one, I'm actually not sure now if this is the right enemy. That is the enemy. These do have big guard. But I'm trying to remember if they actually will use it on their own, or if you have to manipulate them. Could also be that they use it when one enemy is left, or something like that. There's some change behavior like that. Even in like 5 and 6, there were enemies that would change behavior depending on if they're like the last enemy left on the battlefield. I had a slot for it on Cloud, and I don't think I have a free slot at the moment, but if I did, I would actually put the long range on him for this lineup and have him in the back row too. But I don't think I can actually swing it. So let's just see if we can get this thing to use big guard. We could actually look it up. That's actually one thing, the original player's guide, the Brady Games guide, is actually mostly very good, but it doesn't really detail the enemy skill stuff. So let me see if this will use it on its own, or if I'm wasting my time. Beach plugs do not use big guard independently, you have to manipulate them, so we'll get that soon, but not right now. Okay, good to know. Ooh, level up on fire. That means we can use fire too, incidentally, or Fira, what is Fira. Fira is the level 2 in the modern. Well, original Japanese / modern everywhere nomenclature for spells. To be perfectly honest, I actually prefer Fire 1, Fire 2, and Fire 3. It's just easier, I think. Let's bust out Ifrit on this thing just to see what it looks like. Ifrit's only 2 more MP than Shiva, which is a lot of MP. The summons do eat MP up a lot. We'll see what he does. I'm surprised that didn't... Oh, it did kill it. Just a delayed reaction on that enemy, I guess. This is obviously kind of a magic-heavy lineup, because again, the way I use Yuffie is as essentially a mage. Even though she's designed to be a ninja. Both in story and the actual design of the character. Man, are you okay? This reminds me of the guy outside Megaton in Fallout 3 that always asks you for water. Which you can use to, if you get a lot of water to give that guy, you can raise your karma. Your positive karma. Pretty high just by giving him water. I think you only get 1 point each time you do it, but he always wants more water, so... When we get to the next save point, I may swap. I'm actually not sure if I'll keep Yuffie or Eris in the party at this point, but I will swap one of the two out, at least. Maybe both. Maybe I'll do Tifa and either Red or Barret. Probably Red at this point, because I think Barret's actually a level higher. Those softs actually will be potentially useful fairly soon, so if we can steal a few more of those, that won't be the worst thing in the world. But not in this battle. Spiky hell. That was a pretty nasty shot, too. Ooh. Did set off his limit break, at least. Let's see if we can get Eris to hit Cloud with a cure before we... do one more shot on this guy. I don't think you can actually go into this reactor. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else on this screen. Technically, you can go up to that upper level, but I don't think there's anything there. We can check it. If we can find the exit, or the entrance to it at least, but I don't think there's anything specifically there. Ooh, diamond pin. We already have that for red, but, you know, that'll probably sell for a fairly decent price when we get to a shop. The extra one. The extra ones, that is. Oh yeah, that ladder up there, you can, or stairway up there, you can use to go to that upper level, but again, I don't think there's anything actually up there. look anyway. Yeah, it looks like you should be able to go this way, but you can't actually exit the screen there. Top everybody's health off here. Ooh, especially after that. Oof. Death blow, when somebody tries to blow you up, not because of who you are, but for different reasons altogether. It's in the death blow, Jerry. Did I make the... I think I might have made that same joke in the last part, when we actually got the Choco-Mog materia. That high potion will go to good use right now. Come on. So I guess I could have just waited and used a tent here, but I'll drop a save. I actually will save the tent for the moment. Let's say when Eris hits level 18, I'll swap somebody else in. But there are several items to get here, and you actually want to fall down here a couple of times. And we'll actually go all the way to the bottom the first time. I was thinking there was something all the way at the bottom, but I guess not. But hopefully we'll get 2 more chances to grab those other items. The W machine gun, that's for Barrett, and that's a long-range weapon again. That's going to supersede his atomic scissors. Oh, back attack. It's only 1 though, so we can take it out pretty quick. Especially with Cloud's limit breakup. Yep, that'll do it. Oh, we got its next limit break. So, with the way the limit break levels work, basically to get... so in this case, Cross Slash, to get the Tier 2, or the second Tier 1 limit break after Bravery. You have to use Bravery, I believe, 8 times. I think it's 8 times you use the first one to get the second on each level, and then to get the next level's first limit break, you have to kill, I think, 100 enemies with that character. Blade Beam is a good one, though, because that actually hits all enemies. Alright, so we'll hold right this time. Get that item. I really thought there was something all the way at the bottom. I guess I'm just wrong. Star Pendant, that's not a bad thing to have. We have at least one. I think we have a couple of those already. Alright, so now we'll hold left. I think this is a staff for Eris. I don't think it's an especially good one, though. Wizard staff. Actually, that might be a good one. Let's see. Double growth. It drops her attack, which doesn't really matter, because we don't really use Eris for attacking anyway. It's a double growth, but it does sacrifice a materia slot. So let's see, is there a spell we can do without having active? I could just cut her all. Move these over here. And then switch to that wizard staff. That would work, I guess. Striking staff we got way back in the train graveyard back in Midgar. We've had that for a long time. That's transform, which is like Toad Mini. Those spells. Let's see. I think we want to go up first. Actually put a proto-emoji there. Which, before they were called emojis, they were called smileys. Anybody remember that? When you just do like a colon and then a half parentheses to draw a smiley face. They were smileys, not emojis. Let's put somebody in. Yeah, let's do Tifa and Red, because actually Red is at 17 now. As is Barret. So those characters are all even. But Yuffie's still ahead of them. So, tag Tifa in. We haven't used Red in a bit, so we'll use him. And we'll shuffle some materia around. Alright. Trying to think. I might want to use Red as the more mage type character on this lineup. We'll give Tifa Steel for now. Let's put these spells on Red. We'll give him 2 of the summons. That was Ifrit. Chocomog. Chocomog is actually probably the most useful overall still, just because it has the random... It's non-elemental and it has the random stop effect. Tifa a summon. I'm going to go ahead and put a power source on Tifa also. I know we kind of loaded her up with more materia than you probably want to if you're using her as an attacker, but still. Actually, let's leave that revive off of her. Because that takes away 2 strength. So we'll save that for Eris. So let's actually check. Alright, so she's even with Red. So that'll work for now. seed mushroom things. These suck. Just try to wipe them out as quickly as we can. I think these are the ones that have like a seed cannon move that does a lot of damage. No, guess they're done now. Eris there reminded me of, again on Seinfeld, when they're watching the marathon at, I forget whose apartment it was offhand, I just saw that episode recently too. But yeah, they're watching the New York Marathon, and George had just kind of like given up all kinds of good stuff he could have had because he was wearing he was wearing Kramer's mother's wedding ring as a social experiment, he said. And, like, every woman he talked to was just, you know, too bad you're married, basically, so he screwed up. He says, a little respect, for I am Costanza, Lord of the Idiots, and then, like, somebody in the background watching the parade out the window says, you're all winners! Suddenly, a new contender has emerged. So, yeah, Eris's, like, little cheerleader thing there kind of reminded me of that. Go in here to open the gate. And yeah, there's a great special effect for while we're in the drawbridge. Just take it off screen and then pan it back. Alright, so here, if we climb up here, there's a little scene with some birds. Which Red desperately wants to eat. I think it's only like a phoenix down, so it's not worth taking. So a couple years ago I had a chipmunk living under my front walkway, and I eventually got to the point, like, I would sit out on the step with, like, peanuts, or usually peanuts, I guess I used. I, like, put them in a little, like a peanut butter jar lid. I, like, set it down and kept moving it a little closer and a little closer. And finally I actually got the chipmunk to trust me enough to let me actually feed it by hand. Which is, like, the highlight of my year. But then, like, 2 years ago, that chipmunk disappeared. I don't know if maybe it was just old and it died of old age, because it actually, I think it had been a mother, because the hole it was going into, at one point, there were, like, 4 or 5 chipmunks, at least 4, I counted, in that hole. So it had babies, I guess, and they grew up and went off on their own. But then eventually the original, I assume it was the mother, the chipmunk that I fed, that stayed behind in that hole. Eventually she disappeared, and I don't know. There are some cats that wander around outside. Not my cats, but there are some, like, neighborhood cats that wander around outside. They have collars, so they belong to somebody, but I don't know if one of them maybe caught the chipmunk, or again, since it had at least one litter, it may have been an older chipmunk, and since it's a rodent, they don't live that long. So maybe it just expired on its own. I hope that's the case. I hope it, you know... Much as I like cats, I'm kind of hoping a cat didn't get it. But anyway, that was like 2 years ago that it disappeared. But just fairly recently, like within the last month or so, it's probably hibernating now, since winter is fully here. We had our first snow this past week. But yeah, like last month, fairly late in the season for them, but I saw there was a chipmunk out on the front lawn. I don't think it has a hole under the walkway. I don't think it's using that old den, which probably is filled in by now. But it's somewhere in the front yard anyway. But I was like watching this chipmunk out the window, and I was all excited because if it's still there next year, I can try to tame it like the last one. But Tabby is also watching it out the window, and you can tell she had different plans for that chipmunk than I did. If she was able to go out to catch it. I'm getting some decent gil here as we go through these mountains. So yeah, the left-hand track just ends right there. It's just a little dead end for no reason. So Red caught up to Yuffie. Tifa will soon. On a long enough time scale, if you keep switching characters, they do eventually kind of even out. Yeah, I didn't need to actually go into the menu there. So I think the enemies on this bridge are bombs, and I think we can learn the self-destruct lore or enemy skill from them. So let's see if we can hit this thing enough that it does that, but doesn't actually try to so we don't kill it, but it uses the self-destruct. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think Red actually has the cure-all. There we go. I don't know if it's really even worth going out of my way for, because self-destruct isn't... I never really used that in other games anyway. Although, is that actually not in this game, now that I think about it? Because that was Bomb Blast, even though it was self-destruct, but that's... Bomb Blast is not a lure, I don't believe. Or an enemy skill. Oh well. I won't belabor the point. Actually, I don't know if I knew this house was here. So that's obviously a hint for when we actually get a car. Actually, let me just see that room again. It looks like a map of Japan there in the back. Maybe it's supposed to be Wutai, which is kind of like the island that's on. Is probably intentionally meant to look like Japan, just kind of reversed, but yeah. Anyway. Alright, buddy, I'll buy a couple tents. And a potion. Let's get a few of these. Various items. Yeah, actually, let's get up to 10 of each of these. Oh, you can actually add. I don't know if I knew you could buy a force stealer here. We can sell these because we already have that equipped on red. I guess we don't need the striking staff anymore. That served us well, but and the mithril clip we don't need, and mithril armlets we don't need. I guess these starting weapons, because we actually, I guess I did sell Tifa's starting weapon, so. And we're not using throw, so might as well sell them off. And an extra carbon. Buy a few of these. No, he does. I was thinking that guy had to listen to my story thing. Might as well heal up. So I think that's all we can do there for now. So, we're heading to the gold saucer. It's harsh, kid. Alright, so here comes a production error. Alright, so you see which way the cable car here is facing, which way the propellers are. And oops, they have it the wrong way around in the full motion video. So I think you actually have to pay points to use the gold saucer points to use this this save point here. Yep. So we obviously can't do that at the moment. 3,000 gil. You can eventually buy that golden ticket, the lifetime pass, and potentially it's worthwhile later in the game because potentially you can be coming back here quite a bit, especially if you're doing like the chocobo racing and stuff like that. So yeah, theoretically it can actually be worth eventually getting that 30,000 gil golden ticket when you're able to. But obviously we're nowhere near that now. I guess theoretically you could like grind to get that much gil now and just buy that the first time. I never have done that. Play, messing around, fucks. So you can pick somebody to go with here. I don't think it really matters at this point, so I'm just gonna pick like Tifa or Red because they're already equipped, and even that probably doesn't matter. As far as things to do here, I think first we want to go to Wonder Square. Because I believe, yes, that's where we actually meet Kachi. One of the odder characters in Final Fantasy, a robotic cat riding a robotic Moogle. Controlled by a guy in Shinra headquarters. So this is some pretty good foreshadowing here, actually, because this fortune, unlike the others, this fortune actually does come true. For worse or for worse. Kate says Catchy is also kind of... We'll put the star pendant on him. And he actually comes with a silver armlet. Yeah, he's also odd in his class. Like, most of the characters in this actually do have, like, recognizable classes that they fit into. He's kind of hard to pin down. Like, I guess because he starts with Manipulate. So I guess he would kind of qualify as a... maybe a mediator, or a beastmaster, maybe, using Final Fantasy V terms. Yeah, he's an odd, I was gonna say odd duck, he's an odd cat. He also has a lot of HP, so he can pretty easily... I don't think we need that transform on anybody. You can actually load him up pretty good with materia as well. And still even keep him in the front row, because he can absorb the HP loss from equipping him with materia. Yeah, let's throw that sense on Siva. Moose outside should have told you. Sorry, folks, we're closed. Moose outside should have told you. I guess Dwayne and Kat are in there, don't want to talk to us. So this area, you actually can play, like, it has some mini games already in it, and also some of the mini games that you play during the course of the story, like the motorcycle or the snowboarding, things like that, you can replay here as well. And we'll actually do the Moogle one to get that out of the way, because you only need to do that once. But yeah, here's the motorcycle game if you want to replay that. The others, like the snowboarding, unlock when you get to that point in the story. So yeah, we'll do the Moogle one, which is kind of, like, I guess if this was a real arcade machine, I guess this would fall into, like, the, Dragon's Lair category or something like that. It's like an interactive storybook. It's, kind of odd. If it was a real arcade game, it would be very, very strange. But yeah, actually call back to Final Fantasy V, which is the game Moogles were officially introduced in, because they lived in a tree. There, I guess this is like a tree/mushroom here. And that's actually referenced in the ending of Final Fantasy VI. Mog's little, when he gets his credit roll, his little symbol is actually the Moogle tree, even though they don't live in the tree in 6, they live in a cave. But yeah, Final Fantasy V was the official introduction of Moogles. They were originally designed for Final Fantasy II, believe it or not. But for whatever reason, I don't know why this decision was made, but for whatever reason, the Moogles in Final Fantasy II were turned into beavers. So there's like this random part where there's talking, or actually not talking beavers, but one of your characters can talk to them. Guy is like able to speak to animals, so yeah, he communicates with the beavers. But yeah, they were actually supposed to be Moogles. So there isn't much to this. Like he has a different reaction when he's full. So once he's full, you just don't feed him anything for a couple seconds, and then he tries to fly. And then you like rinse and repeat it, and then that's it. Yep, there he goes. So, yeah, we just leave it without doing anything for a few seconds. I might have actually done one too many there. I was briefly not paying attention. Uh-oh. Oh. Alright. Pressing start. There we go. Actually, I don't know if I've ever actually failed that. Again, I was looking at my phone. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever failed that. I didn't know you could just continue. Even though it didn't seem to want to register my start button for some reason. Alright, there we go. Oh, damn it! I didn't even mean to push the button that time. And he's just gonna flop. Alright, is it gonna let me continue again? Alright, good. I'm sure that's taking more gil out of my account. Alright. Hand is off the controller. There we go. Apparently that's all you need to do to impress a lady Moogle. Alright, so... nice little start here. Gold saucer point. Account. That's why I made sure to do that. For now, though, we don't really need to do much here. I think we can just go to the ghost square. I think. Or do we go to battle square first? Might be battle square first. Yeah. I guess it's the second trip. There's the whole sequence where you stay at the ghost hotel. Gold Saucer's owner, Dio, aka the man on the Silver Mountain. I cannot do a Dio singing voice. Ride the tiger, you can see his stripes, but you know he's clean. Can't you see what I mean? Yeah, I guess the date sequence is the second trip to the Gold Saucer, too. I was thinking it was this time, but apparently not. Hey, little girl. Come on. There's the wires there. Yeah, come sit with me. Where's your sister? She can come too. She actually looks, Adrian kind of has the same markings as, Kate Sith, doesn't she? Just don't chew on anything back there. Here. Come here. Oh, here comes Adrian. Here, Adrian. Room for you over here. Let's see what this guy has to say. Ooh. And there's random battles in here. So this prison under the Gold Saucer is actually the original Corel town that Barrett's flashback and another flashback that we'll see momentarily took place in. Adrian, come back. And you, lay down. So my thought at this point, we'll do the prison sequence. Thank you for knocking the camera. So we'll do the prison sequence, get the buggy, and then before we go to our next actual destination, we'll see if we can go back and get the White Wind and the big guard enemy skills. And then we'll call it for this part. So yeah, we get this guy following us here. This really does kind of capture this, like, bleak, hopeless situation. Like, even the music here and that, like, beating sun effect. You can also see on this... there. Well, I'll point it out after this battle. What are you doing? And Kaseth's weapon type is a megaphone, which I don't quite get how that works. You know, it's one of the stranger weapon types in Final Fantasy, I think, and that's saying something because this is a series where the previous game had a guy whose best weapon was a set of loaded dice. And 2 games from now, in Final Fantasy X, one of the best fighters, his weapon is a volleyball. Yeah, you know, sometimes I like to let a little air out so it leaves a welt, yeah? So yeah, even compared to those, the megaphone I don't quite get. Like, I get the concept that he uses it to give orders to the Moogle robot that he's riding. Like, I get that. But still, how does having different colored megaphones make that more powerful? Well, make the attacks more powerful from the Moogle? Like, does it really matter what color it is? You could just be yelling orders to it through a paper towel tube. You'd think it would have the same effect in the real world. Incidentally, when I was really little, I used to call paper towel tubes doot-de-doos. Now why? Doot-de-doo. You could do that through them. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, in any kind of real-world sense, like, would that work in, like, 80s WWF? Like, if you gave Jimmy Hart a blue megaphone instead of a red or a white one? I think he usually used red and white ones, right? So if you gave him, like, a blue one, would that make the wrestlers he was managing have more powerful moves and stuff? So Cloud actually did eat that self-destruct, and I don't think he learned it, so that may not be a learnable enemy skill in this game. It usually is. It was in 5 and in 6, which were the introductions of blue magic. And I could be wrong, but I think... do Quistis and Quina have it too? Or Kamari? Hi. You just shocked me there. Like an electric charge of some sort, little lady. I'm looking for my magic command. Alright, so... So that house there is ultimately where we want to go. I think there's an inn somewhere here too. Oh, but I wanted to point out the billboard here in the background, that Shinra billboard behind the house. You can clearly see, and I've never thought to check like what the Japanese version looks like. I'll have to do that. Because you can clearly see where that says fuck. And they covered it up, like they turned the F into a P and the U into a Y. So it says Pyck, but you can actually kind of see where they made that change, and you can see it's clearly supposed to say fuck there. So I've never, I'll have to look it up actually, like I'll see what this background looks like in the Japanese version, if it actually just says fuck there. But, yeah, just something I think I noticed that right away when I was, like, 14, the first time I played this. I should have attacked the thief guy there first. I know Cloud has that limit break built up, but... Yeah, those guys do steal your items, but you get them back as long as you kill them. Of course, if you take too long to kill them, they run away. Alright, so we have to take Barrett with us. So I'm actually gonna just throw Kasif in, I think. Or Akashi. Because he already has the, he's already set up, has the summons and stuff. And he has a cure all, so. Do that for the order. I said let's actually see what Kachi says when you take him out of the party. Just to complete the set of everybody. Oh, that house on the right, I think that's an inn. Which I never knew about until more recently. I wouldn't say recently, but since the first time I played the game anyway, I learned about that. Alright, let's check this building out, and then we'll head up, which is where we're actually supposed to go. I think this is an inn. Maybe it's just a shop. Let's try out Cloud's new limit break, since he hasn't charged up. So yeah, the first enemy that gets hit by that gets the biggest attack, obviously, but other enemies get the, like, residual effect. Oh, we should actually set up Barrett's materia. So he actually doesn't need the long range because we do have a new weapon for him. So Tifa, she had sense, restore, and we'll throw a restore all on him, and that's about it. You don't want to load Barrett up too much. Like one spell, the cure spell, is enough. I guess there isn't an inn. I really thought there was an inn somewhere that you could use, unless it's this truck here. That didn't have an entry indicator. It's obviously not Coates' truck there. I don't know. We could just use his tent at the save point. Oh, and Baron actually has a new weapon, too. Which is why we took the long range off of him to begin with. Nice. Cure 2. Alright. Before we forget on that. So yeah, the W machine gun. I'm just gonna move his other materia over. So yeah, we have the Chocobo lure on a double growth weapon. So yeah, it does drop his attack by 2 points, but I think it's worth it just to be a long-range weapon without needing the long-range materia equipped. Yeah. Alright. Two of those mofos. In fact, since Barrett doesn't need the long-range materia with the W machine gun equipped, I could, if he has an empty slot at least, I could put that on Cloud and put him in the back row too, while we're using Barrett. And yeah, he does have a free slot, so yeah, let's have Cloud a little more protected for a little while. Alright, so is it left or right? One just goes out into the desert, the other's the way we're actually supposed to go. Yeah, that's the desert side, I think. This was pretty helpful. Where is it? This way, into the sun there, although that doesn't have an indicator. Oof, that is a nasty hit. But, actually not a bad thing, because it did build up Barrett's limit meter. And he has a one-on-one boss fight coming up, where it's only Barrett, no other characters, so we'll try to preserve that. And get him healed, too. So I think it's this way. Oh no, I guess it is, yeah, I guess you have to go through the break in the fence above that pit from the other side. Alright. Alright, I'm with it now. I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. What I'm with now isn't it. What's it now is weird and scary to me. And it'll happen to you. It's like the truest thing ever said on The Simpsons, I think. Oh, these are actually another opportunity to learn Matra magic if you don't already have it. Oof. So, if I remember right, I think, is it dice or is it slots that Kate starts with as his limit break? I think it's dice, actually. But his limit breaks are actually like gambler class, basically. Boy, these things are just spamming that Matra magic. Get that 4 booms. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, what's this guy's deal? Alright, yeah, this is where we want to go. Alright, so, yeah, this is one-on-one, obviously. There's not a lot to this fight, it's mainly just kind of trading blows. VII does have this, which is... I guess it's kind of like his limit break. Yes, mine. I guess it's more a special move than a limit break, because he can use it at pretty much any time. And that's it. Can't seem to get the camera situated right this time. Anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty heavy. That is, I think, honestly, one of the better written, like, character backstories in this game. It's not one of the ones people talk about, but, yeah, because I think the point is that Barrett can see that he and Dine are kind of like two sides of the same coin, and either one of them could have gone in Dine's direction, you know, the other could have gone in Barrett's direction, and maybe rightfully it should have been Barrett that was left with nothing because Marlene is actually Dine's kid, not his. It was kind of luck of the draw which one went in which direction. Even in, I assume it was intentional, neat little kind of bit of set dressing where there were those two, like, beams sticking out of the ground that look like two crosses, and then, of course, Dine, before he falls backwards, makes the third cross. So, a little bit of iconography reference there. So, yeah, heavy part of the game, really, and I think a pretty well done part as far as, you know, an emotional backstory. I imagine Esther here. So yeah, as a tonal whiplash, let's go race chocobos now. And it's not the last time in the game where there is a tonal whiplash like that either. But yeah, anyway, Esther here. I imagine if we were casting this as a movie, I imagine Esther would have been like Siobhan Fallon from Saturday Night Live. Or I mainly think of her. She was also the bus driver in Forrest Gump. But my favorite role of her that I always associate her with is Tina on Seinfeld. Oh, hi Elaine. You look a little dysfunctional. Tabby. Everything's still working here. Tabby just dove through wires. Yeah, I was teaching my class, we had a big snowstorm on Tuesday when I should have had my in-person session for the week for my class. So I had to do that as a video. And I ended up having to record it twice, because Tabby jumped up on the desk and walked over the keyboard on the computer. And I didn't realize until later, when I finished the session and processed the video, to upload it. I didn't realize she stepped on the mute button. So halfway through the class, the audio goes out. So I had to redo the entire thing, didn't I? It's a good thing you're cute. That's all I can say. It's a good thing you're cute. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Siobhan Fallon as Tina on Seinfeld. I had a dream where I was working in one of those booths, you know, where you shoot the water in the clown's mouth. Kramer, are you coming back to bed? Alright, so before we go, we want to grab Ramen Materia there. One of the classic summons again. And actually, one of the most important espers as a character in Final Fantasy VI. I think the CRT monitor there. I a couple parts ago, I think I told the story that I just recently found a new CRT TV. Not new, it's from 1992, but I found a TV by the side of the road that I didn't even need to fix up. I just cleaned it up, because it actually works pretty well. I cleaned it up and got a remote for it and stuff. But anyway, I don't have a CRT computer monitor anymore. Not that I necessarily need one, but if I got an old computer, I would need it for that. And something I wouldn't mind doing at some point. Get like a 486 or something. Play some of those games on the actual hardware it was designed for. I do have a bunch of those games that I played in that era. I do have a bunch of them on GOG, good old games, like Wolfenstein and Doom 2 and Blakestone, Aliens of Gold, stuff like that. Let me just review the controls again. X and square, I think I can handle that. And circle's the boost. Okay. So the first race you do here is pretty easy, and after that you can do it to raise your Chocobo stats, which makes it more likely to breed the blue and the gold, or the blue and the green ones, than the black ones, and then eventually, black and white ones that is, and then eventually get the gold Chocobo, so you can get Knights of the Round. But there is a way, and it involves like resetting and reloading and stuff. I'll have to look up when we get to that point in the game. I'll have to look up exactly how to do it again. But there is a way that you can game the system to be able to get the gold Chocobo without having to do all the Chocobo racing to level them up. And that's probably how I'll do it in this playthrough, because I don't really feel like doing this over and over and over and over again. I do like the Yahoo! It kind of reminds me of the King of the Hill theme song. Actually, the second version of the King of the Hill theme song was where they replaced like the cowbell part of the theme with like the Yahoo! Thing. So yeah, anyway, the first Chocobo race here is kind of hard to lose, because the game wants you to win it to progress. And again, more untranslated Japanese there with the manual / auto operation indicator. But yeah, definitely make sure, if you're playing this, make sure to grab the Ramu Materia in this room the first time you come through, because I don't believe you get another chance. I don't believe you can actually come back into this room. Could be wrong on that. I might actually be wrong on that. You might be able to come into this room when you're doing the Chocobo racing later. Alright, so let's look at everybody's levels. I guess everybody's 18 or 19. Everybody's pretty even now. Kasith does have the manipulate, so we'll actually keep him in the party for now. And for the other character, we put all the summons on Kasith, so we'll go with Tifa. But yeah, we're going to want to use, again, as the last thing for today, I'm going to get those 2 enemy skills that we still need. So our next stop is Gungaga, and we'll pick up next time with that. But for now, we're actually going to head back to Costa del Sol, and we'll take the buggy across to the other continent and get the White Wind enemy skill. So let's check out Kasith's dice here. Good hit. It's obviously luck of the draw on the dice. But I should actually check Tifa's materia. I'm not sure if she's fully set up anymore. I think she might just have some residual materia from before we had Barrett in the party. Alright, so what does she have? Yeah, we need to get her restore back on her. I guess that's all she needs. Why does Barrett have 2 senses on? Curly would say, no senses, no feeling. Oh, she actually has a better weapon, too. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's the same number of slots, so we didn't drop anything. Alright, so how do we get to Costa del Sol? I think it's just up here. The buggy, obviously, it doesn't prevent random encounters, but you can cross shallow water in it. And you can drive it right into Costa del Sol and take it across to the other continent. Oh, actually, we need to get Big Guard, too. Well, we can do that on the way back. So we'll save, like, outside of Gungaga. Actually, we might be able to do, if we're going to the Fort Condor area anyway, we might be able to knock out another battle there, too, while we're at it. I kinda wish you could skip this sailing scene. Oh, good. The military march is still playing. thinking we could probably put, yeah, let's go ahead and load up all the summons on Kate Sith. So he has Ramu now, also. Alright, so I think this takes you to the lower town, and then you can exit, and I think you should have the car then. There is a free inn here, so may as well use that. Yep, there we go. So we'll head over to Fort Condor's area. Yeah, in fact, before we specifically start hunting, oh, actually, this enemy is the one we're looking for. Oh, alright, that'll work. So we want to manipulate that big thing. And it misses, of course. Come on. There we go. Oh. We have to put an eater on it, I think. There we go. Okay, so we got White Wind. so we're gonna do the same thing. Alright, so while they're climbing out, I'm gonna step away for a moment. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Sort of. I knocked everything over here. Yeah, there we go. So I think it's, actually not even sure if this guy becomes more powerful or not. He may just be the same, same enemy. We'll try out, Ramu on him. That was quite a big hit. Nothing to steal. Alright. Actually, let's do Choco-Mod, because we actually did successfully freeze him with this in the last battle with him. And yeah, stopped him again. I guess it didn't matter. He's pretty much done anyway. Another Vagirisk Claw, which sounds vaguely obscene for some reason. Alright, so I don't think we can do it again just yet. Yeah, I think it always makes you wait a while. Alright, so we'll use the free in here, and then we'll actually head back across to Costa del Sol, and we'll get Big Guard, and then we'll head out from there, actually. Here's the beds. Come on. Alright, so that was a successful foray. We got White Wind. Which, let's take a look at its description, but White Wind is healing ability. I believe, if it works the same way as it did in, like, 6, I believe it heals the caster's maximum HP. Either maximum or current HP, anyway, to the entire party. So, very useful. It's always, every game it appears in, it's always one of the more useful abilities to have. So yeah, if you don't get any other enemy skills in this game, definitely that, and definitely Big Guard you want to get. Unfortunately, Big Guard you can get pretty early, which is not always the case. It's actually pretty tricky to find in V, as I recall, which was the first game it appeared in. Let's call in Shiva. These enemies have any items. So we'll stick with this party until we get Big Guard, and after that, we'll head to Gunnaga, and we'll probably change the party up at that point. Yeah, the car unfortunately doesn't prevent random attacks, but it does let you get across, like, shallow water, basically. Which there were also cars you could rent in Final Fantasy VIII. But they didn't. I don't think they prevented attacks either, and they also didn't really have any special abilities, and I don't think they even went that much faster than your walking speed. So I didn't really, when I forced myself through 8, I don't think I really even used the cars more than maybe once to try them out. Yeah, I didn't really see much point in them. And you had to buy gas for them too. Let's see what this guy says. Was there an item in the locker room? Let's find out. Over here. I guess it's just these two dorks. Alright. Let's head back to the ship and go back across the ocean. Kind of an annoying town just to get around. I don't know why. Why I find it annoying, really. Other than just, you know, sometimes the perspectives are a little weird for the camera angles and such, but... Yeah, so you can actually, I forgot about that, actually, you can take a helicopter to the other side of town, but I don't know if there's really any point in that either. It doesn't really save much time, if any. Because yeah, it does warp you to the other side of town, but you still have to, like, sit through the animation of the helicopter arriving and stuff, so I don't know if it actually saves any real notable amount of time versus just walking. Yeah, thanks for the advice. Yeah, I kind of regret missing the little cutscene with Hojo on the beach. See if Mookie's still here at least. Yep. Alright, so head back out of town. So we want to, like, go along a little beach area, pretty much anywhere here, and find those beach plug enemies. Because those you can manipulate into, casting Big Guard on you. And learning that. Alright, let's see what we get. And yeah, that's them. Alright, so. Nice. Let's try to steal one from one of them. There we go. So that is like a staple move. It's what exactly Big Guard does has changed slightly game to game. It's usually at least Protect and Shell together, which is what it was in 6. In 5, where it was introduced, I believe it was Protect, Shell, and Float. In this game, this is actually probably the best version of it in 7, because in this game, Big Guard does Protect, Shell, and Haste on all 3 characters in your party. So it's actually kind of overpowered in a way as a protection spell, because giving you Haste at the same time too is, you know, no small thing. So yeah, like any boss fight, the first time, whatever character you have enemy skill on, in this case it'll be on Cloud, probably most of the time in this game. You kind of want to use their opening turn just to throw up Big Guard. It's probably one of the best, most useful spells in the game overall, of any type. What was the point of spitting out the new ones if you were already done? Alright, so we'll get to Gungaga, and we'll change up the party, and then we'll save and quit for now. There is actually, incidentally, aside from breeding chocobos, there is another way to get a gold chocobo. You can just beat Ruby Weapon, but that's pretty hard, so, yeah, I'm actually not even 100% sure if I'll bother fighting Emerald and Ruby weapons, which are usually actually called the American monsters because they were introduced to the North American version. They were actually not in the original Japanese version of the game. So yeah, they are the hardest enemies in the game. They're much harder than the final boss even. So I may or may not actually fight them in this playthrough. We'll see. We'll see how strong we're feeling by the end game. But that is the other way you can get a gold chocobo and thus get Knights of the Round. Alright, so I think that's where we're headed. Yeah, Gungaga's right there. So, let's get out of our car. So let's see. So Tifa's actually ahead of Kate Sith now. She's tied with Yuffie, Barrett, and Red. So let's put Eris back in. I guess it doesn't really matter at that point. I could keep Kate Sith in because he's at the second lowest level, tied with Eris, but I might want to move the summons back onto Eris and kind of use her for what we've kind of assigned with the previous lineup, what we kind of assigned Kate Sith's role to be. So, I'm thinking red for now. Oh, he actually has a limit break ready to go too. Alright, so yeah, we'll move the summon. So yeah, Eris doesn't have any linked materia slots at the moment, unfortunately. So we won't be able to use the all on her. We will put a restore all on a red. How is Red's dexterity? 20. He's pretty high. I might throw steel on him while Tifa and Yuffie are not in the party. That's manipulate. There's steel. Alright, so we took everything off Tifa. Yeah, you can do Earth Wall, why not? Just keep just to keep that wall gaining experience. I've revived the sticking point with that. Might as well put it on. I don't know, do we want Red's power to drop by 2? I'll give him a power source anyway. Right, so he's up to 30, so he would be 28. I do want to level up that revive, so I guess it's worth it. There we go. Alright, we'll go with that for now. Let's use a tent. When we go into town, there's a couple of cutscenes before we can actually use it in, so I'll just sacrifice a tent for now, and then, yeah, so I'm gonna call it for this part. Yeah, decent progress. So next time, we should be able to go through Cosmo Canyon, which has a dungeon and a story sequence specific to Red 13, so we'll learn more about him next time. Yeah, and then after that, it's Nibelheim, right? So we'll probably do Nibelheim, maybe get to Rocket Town and meet Sid, maybe not. Maybe it'll mainly be the Cosmo Canyon and Nibelheim sequences next time. But we should be able to at least do those two, if not all three. If not, Rocket Town as well. So, anyway, so yeah, that's part 4. I know I already saved, but just for safekeeping, we'll double up on the save here. So yeah, thanks for joining me for part 3. Little chaotic towards the end when I knocked stuff over and Tabby jumped through the wires and stuff, but anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me. Hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you again soon for part 4. No, this was part 4. Part 5 of Final Fantasy VII coming up. And I kind of forgot just how long disc 1 takes. We're still on the first disc, so yeah, like Final Fantasy VI we covered in 13 parts. At this rate, for a 3-disc game, I don't know. Might be longer than that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm just looking at the manual here. I'll do that off camera. But yeah, I haven't looked through the actual in-game, or not in-game, but the manual that came with the game in a while. I have to say, my copy of it is in very good condition, which is just because it's been in the jewel case since I got the game, and that was almost, oh my god, 30 years ago, almost. It'll be 30 years ago. It's 28 years ago this year, so... But yeah, this manual stayed in pretty much perfect condition. So yeah, just little roundup while we're here. The canonical ages in the manual, Cloud is 21, Aeris is 22. I thought she was 25 for some reason. But according to the manual, she is 22 years old. Which again, I mean, that's okay, I guess. Cloud being, like, supposedly, we'll find out more about that, but being supposedly an elite, like, upper-level soldier member. Him being 21, I think Cloud should be a little older. I don't know. But we'll find out more about him. Cloud is also only 5'7", so I'm... According to my driver's license, I'm 5'8", so I'm actually taller than Cloud, apparently. Tifa is 20 years old, so she's actually the youngest of, like, the core 3. Core 4, counting Barrett, I guess. And Tifa's 5'4". Barrett is 35, and is 6'4". Red 13 is 48 years old, which they actually do say that in the game. In his species, that's basically a teenager, we find out. But he's 48 years old, and he's 3'9", but, you know, should measure that by length, right? Since he's effectively an animal. Right, where are you? What are you doing there? You are definitely a lot shorter than 3'8", or 3'9", whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, this little cat weighs, there she is, she weighs 7 pounds, according to the doctor's scale. I frankly don't even believe that. I think her bones are hollow like a bird's. She's 7 pounds of nothing. Right? Anyway, Sid, who we haven't met yet, but we may meet next time. Hopefully we'll meet next time. Sid is 32 years old, and they treat him like he's the old man of the crew. He's actually younger than Barrett. But even so, he's 32 years old, so he's 10 years younger than I am. And Sid is 5'8". Sid is my height. And as a he's basically, class-wise, he's a dragoon. It seems like he should be taller. They don't put weights in this, but a lot of times the canonical weights that they do give characters for Final Fantasy games make no sense. Like they would have a character like, I think, Kain in Final Fantasy IV. I probably don't have the exact numbers here, but Kain was the Dragoon in Final Fantasy IV, of course. And I want to say he was like 6'2" or 6'3", and he was only like 120 pounds. Like, that would be emaciated. Yeah, anyway, I actually have Sephiroth in the character list here. Sephiroth is 6'1", age unknown. Yuffie is 16 years old, 5'2", that checks out. Kate Sith is age unknown, height 3'2", which would just be the cat part, not the Moogle, and still seems way too tall, right? Yeah. Vincent, who we'll definitely meet Vincent next time if we get to the Nibelheim part. Sid we may or may not get to, but we should get Vincent, who's the other optional character, but who wouldn't take the option of getting him. He is 6 foot even and 27 years old, which actually, even lore-wise, that doesn't make sense. Like, even the backstory we find out in the game. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I'm done for now. So, yeah, again, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. We'll see you again for more Final Fantasy VII, and inching ever closer, at least to the end of Disc 1, if nothing else. Yeah, this will be a long one, though. So, strap yourselves in. Anyway, have a good night. We'll see you soon.